Let me tell you a story. It's a few days ago. I'm in Bali and I'm in this like co-working space where, people like go on their laptops and pretend to work. And some people are sat next to the pool. Some people are eating. I go next to the pool and I notice there's a girl there journaling. And basically just for content and because we're inviting like women to join us for like the dating podcast that I'm doing, I'm going to go speak to her, basically cold approach her, even though I'm in a relationship. I go up to her. I say the magic words, and you can just see her body language to how like receptive she is. First impressions are made within seconds. What did I do or what did I have to cause this kind of like reciprocal energy in this woman here? I want to give you the advice straight away and not waste your time. Number one thing was eye contact. Usually your first impression will start from eye contact when she's looked over at you or when a guy has looked over to you. And if you've got fleeting eyes, little like weak eye contact and stuff, and you look away when they look at you, even if you look back afterwards, that split second where you slightly looked away shows that you are the weaker person. So you've heard this so much in YouTube videos recently in this space of self-improving masculinity. Learn how to hold eye contact better. And it's literally just practice. So a few years ago, I found it very difficult to hold eye contact. I just kind of automatically would look away just because it felt more like polite or safe. These days, I feel like I've made so much progress with this that there's some times where it almost is like there's women who will hold my eye contact for a while, like strong women, and I'm not backing down. It's almost like a game eventually where like you realize how important it is, but almost that like when someone like stares at your eye contact, I'm not going to be the one to break it first. Like it is like this game of chicken, and always the other person will leave first as long as I'm in like the right mindset. That's the number one tip. Just hold eye contact. You can practice this right now. Even as I say these words, I'm looking directly at you. You can try the same thing looking directly at me. The second tip for a fantastic first impression is to approach her and talk instantly the moment that you saw her. I've said before that this is like something I say in my own brain. I command my legs to walk towards her the moment that I've seen her. If you dilly daddle, like let's say, okay, you've seen the girl and you want to talk to her and you've kind of got in your mind, okay, I want to approach her, I want to attract her, or maybe there's this guy that I want to be friends with. If you're kind of like dilly daddling in your mind, wasting time and everything, it's gonna look so much worse. Like a girl can tell when you want to speak to her, and if you go straight away, you almost hit her in a state of like nervousness where she's like almost frozen, and that's actually a good state to talk to her because she kind of associates the nerves with like you being high status. If you kind of look at her and then you kind of waste time checking your phone and thinking to yourself, yeah, I'm going to speak to her, yeah, I probably will, I don't know, is that guy her boyfriend, I don't know. At that point, it's like she can tell you wanted to speak to her, but that you're actually like acting in a weak way. And it also worsens your energy as well. If you imagine right now imagine you're walking somewhere and there's a cute girl whose eye contact you slightly meet. If you straight away went to speak to her in this sort of momentum, you'd speak to her in a lot better way than if you saw her eye contact and you kind of sat down for a bit, pretending to like, check something on your phone whilst not being present and thinking about speaking to her. If you did go, which you probably wouldn't, but if you did go and speak to her then, you could imagine you'd bring a lot of more of that sort of silent, reserved energy rather than the sort of high energy of the momentum of the moment that you saw her. By the way, bro, you're consuming all of these educational videos, which is awesome, but let's be more serious. There is a war on masculinity, and for us to win this war, we need you to join our gang. I'm welcoming you to the Adonis Gang. Come join your brotherhood by clicking the top link in the description right now and watching that welcome video after you finish watching this one. On top of that, one of the most important tips that I can give you for when you do go and speak to this woman and you want to make a good impression is the relaxed body language. I say this with every single video. You must understand. We as like a whole tribe of young men are all now understanding this, of how important this is. Breathing fully when you go and speak to someone is the most important tip that anyone can give you. Even body language is less important. Even the words that you say, even the shape that your body is in, like if you're in shape or not, or the clothes you wear, all of that is less important than you actually breathing when you speak to this person. Naturally, when you go and speak to someone new, your body will constrain and you won't be present, and you'll be shallowly breathing barely to your chest. When you go and speak to this girl, or when you go and speak to some guy, if you see me in public and you want to come say hello to me, make sure you remind yourself, breathe fully into your stomach. It's as simple as just like taking a forceful breath. and then going to speak. And when you do speak to them, continue that forceful breath down right into your stomach. You will be so much more confident and you'll actually enjoy yourself more. When you forget something like this, it'll be those moments of like, you know, when you're like in this weird, like awkward stage, when you're like, your body's not turned towards them and stuff, and you're looking away and you just feel so like not present. You're there like overthinking whilst talking to her, and you find yourself like your voice cracks or anything like that. Another tip is to reduce the common awkwardness that you get. So some guys, they don't actually know what to do with their hands when they're in the middle of a conversation. So sometimes it's just awkward. You're talking to someone and they'll just have their hands like just kind of like by their side, and it's weird, it's stiff. So this is going to sound like weird specific advice, but if you often find you don't know what to do with your hands in like a social situation, one of the easiest things is like you just kind of hold like something. You hold, if you were holding your phone, it doesn't feel odd that your hand is like down by your side and you're just holding it. Sometimes I'll hold my phone with like two hands and I'll kind of hold it like this. Like I'm not using it, but I'll kind of like speak to someone. Like you can't see it, but if I imagine I was stood up and my phone was just like this next to me, or I'll hold it with one hand. It's weird. Like I've never thought I'd make a video on like what to do with your hands in a social situation, but people need this. Another one is just put them on your hips as you just speak, just casually. Sometimes I put it on my hips, but I feel too much like Superman, so I almost do it in like the sort of opposite way, or almost like this. Like I put my hands like this, almost like chicken, and it just like looks fine. Or you can put your hands behind you, almost like army style. So like imagine behind my back, I just put my hands like this, like this. And final one, you can just cross your arms like this. You might have seen all the body language videos where they say like, oh no, this means that you've got closed body language. You don't, you know, it doesn't make you look friendly. I don't think so. I think when I see someone who's got their hands like this, you don't automatically think like, yeah, they dislike me. Haha. I see a lot of girls walk around like this when it's cold. I see guys do this because it's comfortable. For example, when I'm in like MMA and boxing and, you know, those things where like there's a coach who teaches you something, I always stand like this. I stand like just stood up straight with my hands like this. It doesn't mean that I've got closed body language, that I don't want to talk to anyone there. It's just kind of like a comfortable way to stand, and it makes you look kind of cool as well. So if you don't know what to do with your hands, just cross your hands as you speak, but remain kind of like positive and smiley, and people know that you're not closed off and you just don't look weird with your hands down by the side. Never thought I'd be teaching the lesson like that, bro. The same thing with your eyes as well. So we spoke about eye contact, but I also just want to narrow in that when you're in the middle of a conversation, try not to move your eyes away as you kind of like think about something. You'll have such a powerful presence on the person that you're with if as you talk to them, you just keep looking at their eyes, and as you say the words as well. Like it's very easy, especially on like Zoom calls online. It's very easy that as you're talking, you're kind of like looking around the room and stuff. It doesn't make you like seem powerful or present or loving or kind or anything like that. Again, if you like see me in person, imagine visualizing this. You see me in person, you want to come say hello, Hamza, you've changed my life, can I get a picture and stuff, and thank you for like leading this movement. You want to say these things, just come up and like look at my eyes, and I'm not gonna lie to you, like it does feel fairly uncomfortable. It does actually feel like a little bit awkward even when I do it myself, but it's not something that we've just got to almost like force ourselves to be okay with. The fifth point is more psychological, and this is a bit of a deeper point, but I'm sure you'll understand. Don't try to impress her. If you stay vigilant of your mind and your desires as you speak to someone, you might find that your mind is kind of making you do things in a certain way to hope to attract them or to impress them. So for example, for me, I'll speak to, like, let's say I'm speaking to someone, right? There's a girl there, I'm speaking to her. I'll find that my mind will want me to kind of mention that I do YouTube casually so that she'll like me more. And sometimes I'll do that. And obviously, I'll subtly say like, oh yeah, well, we're just here with my cameraman. And she's like, oh, cameraman, whatever. And sometimes it's fine to mention that stuff. But I find that brings a lot worse energy. It's a lot better for you not to like try and impress someone and then to be sort of stumble upon your greatness than it is for you to tell them about it. So when someone tells me about how great they are, I know that they're losers basically. But when I hear about someone from someone else, that's when it's big. So for example, I was in the same co-working space as what I was talking about with that girl, and a guy came up to me and spoke to me. We had met before, so we were just talking about stuff, and you just had like a nice conversation. And another guy comes up, recognizes me and says, Hamza, you've changed my life, whatever. And he says to the guy that I was just talking to, yeah, he's got 2 million subscribers. The guy I was just talking to was like, what? That's fucking huge. You got 2 million. Whoa. Like 2 million subscribers is already nice. Me not mentioning it makes it seem cooler. Someone mentioned it for me. Like shout out to the guy who his name's Elon or Elron, but shout out to the guy who did that for me because he made me look like a fucking G. Have the success is awesome. Talking about the success is kind of nice. Someone else mentioning the success about you is awesome. That's the best case scenario. Or the person you're talking to finds out by themselves. So let's say you've got a six pack, for example, but it's kind of like hidden because you're kind of like lean and you're not too big, but you've got a nice six pack. You don't have to keep trying to mention it to every person you speak to. You don't have to keep posting it on like Instagram all the time. They'll know, they'll see it eventually. And when they do, the fact that you haven't shown it means that it's basically more like casual, normal for you, which means that it's actually even more special. This is kind of like a law of power, which is like make a result seem effortless. What it basically means is like if you act in this sort of cool, laid back, low key, nonchalant way, it will make it seem like whatever success you do have is actually more normal for you. I find myself wanting to mention to people that I'm like a big YouTuber all the time. And interestingly, it's the people that I don't mention it to who end up liking me more than the people who I do, because you just bring this weird, awkward energy. So next time you're about to speak to a girl or a guy and you've got whatever like kind of success that you've built so far, try and be more laid back and just think to yourself with certainty, you know what, they'll find out eventually. And when they do find out, it'll be more cool that I didn't mention it. Your actionable step for this video is to keep in mind just one of the points, maybe go recap that part of this video and go use it for the next time you get to approach a girl or the next like first impression that you're about to make. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.